Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How are you? To God be all the glory again. I had to come with this one. Okay. Now, why this deportation thing is going on with ICE? I just came across this one. And I'm like saying, people are saying black people should be out there helping the Latinos. I mean, I wouldn't even consider them I'm gonna just say Mexicans. Now, some people were calling on like Jennifer Lopez and all of them. Jennifer Lopez is Puerto Rican. She's not Mexican. Okay, let's get that together. There are different types of people from Hispanic culture and who are here legal as legal citizens and those who are not here that came from different places from their native countries or whatever. Fat Joe and jennifer Jennifer is Puerto Rican, totally different culture. Now people were saying, why wasn't the Asians out there helping the Mexicans? Because they got their own illegal issues going on. Why would they be out there putting themselves on display? Why would the Asians, like people that work in these Korean, nail salons and Korean food places like Chinese food or whatever, or Chinese food, Chinese, Korean, and places of those, you know, businesses, they're not out there making any noise and rioting and causing chaos because they don't want the spotlight on them. They got their own illegal issues going on. So anyway, I just wanted to just bring this to your attention. These people that's nicely and quietly, as ICE came to arrest them. You don't see people out there attacking the ICE police officers. You don't see them vandalizing property. You don't see them making all that, causing all of that, noise and being a nuisance and being criminals. It's a different way of doing things. They were here, their visas expired. They were here on a work visa. So ICE went and checked out their businesses and found out that these people are working in still in the United States illegally, meaning that their status is not up to date. They are working and their visas has expired, so they're picking them up. So while these people are out there, see, people got to understand what is really going on. Just get your stuff in order. Just get your paperwork in order. They visas have expired. ICE is not going to come get you if your paperwork is intact. Some people, but you will be looked into. They will check on you, just to make sure everything is in good condition. They will come and investigate you. This is what they mean by cracking down on the immigration in America. There's so many expired visas and people are still living in America and they have not updated their status. And this is what I'm showing you. So why you don't see the Asians out there doing that? Because they left quietly. They left quietly. They not making a lot of noise, and so happen these people will be back in the United States because they will be updating their status. They got to make sure they don't have no criminal records, not have done anything that was against the law for order for their visas to be updated. So people don't need to be out there doing not the crazy stuff that they're doing. If they want to be here in the United States of America and they want to become citizens of the city, they want to have their rights and everything else. This is the process they have to go through. That's it. But let's go. Let's listen to this video.
Following new developments in an immigration crackdown at a Marietta nail salon. Immigration agents arrested 12 employees on Wednesday, forcing the business to shut down. Channel 2's Brian Mims, live now in Marietta. And Brian, a Homeland Security investigations official told you his agents are busier now than they've ever been. Yes, this is the Lux Nail Lounge off Chastain Meadows Parkway. It is all closed down and locked up. It is here where I spoke with the regional special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations. He says agents are making about 100 arrests every day in the Atlanta region alone. This video provided by Homeland Security Investigations shows agents leading 12 employees out of Lux Nail Lounge on Wednesday. Except for one employee, that was the whole staff on duty. And this business rode on that illegal labor force. As you can see, they are closed today because they have no employees remaining to do that work. That's the agency's regional special agent in charge, Stephen Shrink.
Slave
He says his
labor.
agents have been considerably busier since President Trump took office. Over the past few years, we have had significant restrictions on enforcing immigration activity. All of our enforcement efforts had to be focused on certain priority areas, and we have broadly opened up the aperture. President Trump has clamped down on undocumented immigrants, signing an executive order to expedite their removal. Shrink says his agency's priority is to apprehend those who threaten public safety. But he says when investigators learn of those who overstay their visas or who illegally cross the border, they will take action. It is our job, outside of politics, outside of the administration, to enforce the laws of the United States, and we were going to do that. It's unclear whether the owners of Lux Nail Lounge will face penalties, but he says any employer knowingly hiring undocumented immigrants could be charged. We are enforcing the existing laws.
See, this is what I'm talking about. See, they said they have to make sure these people don't have any kind of criminal records on them, and they are in the United States and they visas have expired. Not only do they have any criminal records on them in the United States, but also in their native country, in their country. And then there's another thing. There's only supposed to be a certain amount of money that's supposed to be able to, that you are able to send out through to your country. And some places like President Trump already put out the list of countries that are banned from the United States. So those countries will have to go through, the Office of Foreign it's called OFAX. Okay, that meaning that there's certain amount of that money will have to be checked through OFAX. Meaning, if you are sending money there, that money will be sanctioned. It will be sanctioned because those countries are banned from the United States. So you will not be able to send that money through OFAX unless it has to be investigated. That is not dealing with any kind of foreign affair, which is also any kind of country that is dealing with terrorism or anything like of that nature. Okay, so they allowed to send money back to their countries to help the needs families and everything else like that, but that money also has to go through some type of investigation with their foreign, when they send in currency to their countries and stuff. So the people that are upset about all of this, they got something to hide. That's why I said you have to be careful. Like you have to be educated about this. Only people with educational sense, people with a mind of education or have some kind of understanding of things, of how foreign policies work. Those people out there doing all the looting and doing all of this stuff, they are being paid by some kind of domestic terrorist agencies, like Black Lives Matter that got caught up in their madness. They didn't care nothing about a black life. This was a domestic agency. These was domestic, what you would call terrorist agencies. They fund people, they get people to come to the United States to try to invade, to try to destroy, to try to take over, and they wait for things like George Floyd. They cared nothing about George Floyd. Nothing. Okay? They cared nothing about that man's life. Because there's a certain type of behavior people must have when you really care for the lives of your loved ones or someone you want to show compassion towards of something that happened so tragically. That's not the behavior you have outbursts, destroying property, vandalizing, and fighting with police officers and doing things of that nature. There's a certain level of behavior you should have when you care to help people in a time of need, and especially when you want to take care of the foreigner. Okay, when you want to take care of the foreigner. Though that governor of that city of LA and that mayor don't care nothing about the lives of those people in LA, of all those innocent people in LA, not even those foreigners that live there, the immigrants that live there who did go through the process and they are working and they are getting caught in the middle of all of this and the crossfire. And this is what I'm trying to say. You don't bring all of that noise and uproot people's lives and put people's lives in danger like that without trying to control and govern the people, and you're just going to let them get wild and crazy and act like animals like that and cost these people their life. You have to get out there and talk to the people. Yes, do your protest. Go to a park in a decent time of the day where you're not interrupting traffic. If you're not blocking traffic, you're not making it hard for people that are doing businesses in their area during the day. People going to work, people, walking through, going to pick up kids for school or dropping their kids off at an early learning center for the day while they go to work. And you interrupting all these people's lives, burning up cars, and doing all of this terroristic stuff. That is crazy. And anybody should say. And the only reason why Gavin Newsom said and everything, oh well, if you want to be a tough guy, come and arrest me, getting all like that, because you got an agenda with Trump. That's between. But you got to take care of the people, the American people. You got to keep the people governed. You got to keep the people calm. You got to do things to keep safety in your cities. The same thing with the mayor. What they're doing, and the reason he's saying that is only because he's looking for some attention for his next political agenda or his next political career. But that's not the way you do it. You should have had those people, the police officers out there, making sure that the people, for safety reasons, and also that people won't get harmed and these people businesses won't get destroyed. And the same thing for the mayor, Miss Bass, Mayor Bass. She should have been made sure that these people would not be out in the street interrupting traffic, destroying people businesses, doing graffiti on federal buildings and all that other stuff. They should have had their protest cited somewhere else. They could walk around, but please do it at a certain time of the day. And then on top of that, on times like business hours and things of people going to work, people coming home, traffic and everything else like that, the protest has to end. The protest has to end. Or there will you came too late announcing to the people now is a curfew. No, that should have been said from the day one. You knew about these protests, that these mass protests that was going to be held in your city for the longest time, from time people wanted to go out there and protest. First they did their time of their protest, they did it on a Saturday where there didn't have to be too much interruption during business hours and the days of business of people going to work. You doing this on the weekend, and then on top of that, these people were out there protesting on a Monday. People have to go to work. People have to go on with their lives. People got to pay their, bills and everything. And y'all interrupting people's lives doing all of this stuff. They not going to do it on a weekend when there's no heavy traffic or anything. You doing this in the midday. And I'm talking about what took place yesterday, which was Tuesday, and what took place on Monday. That shouldn't have never been allowed. Y'all should have cracked down right then and there. No, not during business days, business hours. If y'all want to do y'all protest on the weekends or whatever like that, yes, do it in a decent way. Do it in the park, and y'all have y'all rallies or whatever like that, but not in the middle of traffic, burning cars, destroying property, vandalizing things, and so on and so on. Now these people left nicely. They was whatever tied, zip tied or whatever you want to call it, and they left quietly. And they just going to be investigated or whatever about getting a visa status updated. And they probably will be back to return to business in the United States if they don't have any criminal past or any broke any kind of, criminal laws in their country or whatever. There's no need for all that noise and people destroying people businesses and destroying property of the federal property and everything. And this ain't gonna stop until y'all gonna get these police officers and these troops out here that's been in their time away from their families and they work and they jobs to be out there to handle whatever needed to be handled in LA. And 80% of that police department over there in LA are Mexican. And they need to do some investigation on those police officers because they wasn't using enough force to control those people either. Because I didn't see the aggressiveness like I saw in New York and in Chicago. With the police in New York and Chicago, they were more aggressive. They were a lot more aggressive than the police officers that was in the Los Angeles area. Because 80% of them are Mexicans. They need to be investigated. Why it wasn't more force used. With black during the civil rights movement, we wasn't doing none of that. We wasn't burning no flags. We wasn't blowing up no vehicles. Maybe there might have been some, destructive. I wasn't there, but from what I could see from some of the videos and from footage of what took place back then in the civil rights movement when black people, we had dogs set on us, we had water hoses on us, we had billy clubs upside our head, we were arrested. The police were very aggressive, and that's what they need to do to these ones out here. They need to start going upside their head with those sticks. Forget about rubber bullets or whatever. They wanna play stupid games. They're gonna win stupid prizes. Get them water hoses and get some dogs on them too. Because what they doing is outlaw. They're breaking the law. And if they want to act like criminals, you're gonna have to treat them like criminals. They're gonna have to get that punishment. Black people, we ain't getting out there in no front line with these people because we know what our ancestors went through. During the civil rights movement, we seen some of the mistreatment and the cruelty and the injustice that was served to them. And we done not half of the stuff these people been doing. We didn't break police cars. We didn't vandalize people property. We didn't do none of that. None of that. We were just targeted because of the color of our skin and the evil that was in their heart. But other than that, we wasn't breaking no laws. And that's why I said no black person be standing in that fight. You can't compare what they doing to the civil rights of what happened to our human rights and what happened to us. There's nothing like what we went through. They need to start getting a lot more aggressive with these immigrants that come over here, these illegals that come over here and they think they could just have their way and do the things they've been doing. They need to start hitting them with the water hose, the dogs, and billy clubs and dragging them, stomping them out and doing all of that. They need to get a lot, let them feel what we felt so they'll get it. And we're not even here illegally. With that being said, I'll come back later if anything else come up. I just wanted to share this one with you. God bless you and have a wonderful afternoon and